Hi guys, I'm Ashlyn. From getting crushed at Disneyland to faulty safety features, here are 10 of the most tragic amusement park disasters. Number 10, Verruckt water slide. Caleb Thomas Schwab, 10 years old, the son of Kansas State Representative Scott Schwab, was killed in August of 2016 while riding the Verruckt water slide at the Schlitterbahn Waterpark in Kansas City. At 168 feet with 264 stairs leading up, Verruckt is taller than the Statue of Liberty and has been certified as the world's tallest water slide by the Guinness World Records. Riders go down the slide in multi-person rafts and have to be at least 54 inches tall, according to the park's website. There was once an age restriction of 14 and over, but that was done away with as it was deemed the height requirement alone was sufficient. Witness Esteban Castaneda heard booms and saw a body wash down the slide directly after it rafted. He rushed over as a lifeguard tried to push the crowd back and continued to try to help because he thought there was a boy lying face down in the water. It was at that point that he noticed the boy appeared to have been decapitated. Another witness said she'd seen Caleb fly out of the ride after the first drop and hit the netting enclosing it before plummeting 50 feet. Currently, there are no federal inspection laws for water parks in the U.S. Inspections are handled on a state-by-state basis. Number 9, Disneyland. All the Disney theme parks have had their share of tragedy, but none have captured more of the public's attention than the story of 18-year-old Debbie Stone. She met her fate while working the America Sings attraction at Disneyland in Anaheim, California in 1974. Stone was an American Sings cast member whose job it was to usher guests into one of several seating areas. She moved between the stages during intermissions as they rotated into place for the next act, as did the other employees. During one such rotation, Stone got caught between an interior wall and that of the moving platform and was trapped by the rotating stage. The ride was halted when other cast members were alerted to her screams by the guests. But it was too late. She was crushed to death. The attraction closed for 2 days while new warning lights were installed, but the stage on which she died remained closed for over a year. Breakaway safety walls were also built in an attempt to increase safety. America Sings closed for good on Sunday, April 10th, 1988. Number 8, Kings Island Amusement Park. 2 unrelated freak accidents claimed 3 lives at Kings Island Amusement Park in Kings Mills, Ohio in 1991. 22-year-old Timothy Beining was attempting to retrieve a lost item in a fenced-in pond in the park when an electrical current jolted him. His friend, William Haithcote, 21, waded in to help him and was fatally shocked. They were followed by a park security guard, Daryl Robertson, 20, who was also fatally shocked. Heathcote and Robertson both died, but Beining, he survived. In another incident on the same day, Candy Taylor, a 32-year-old mother of 2, was riding alone on Flight Commander. Riders were secured by an over-the-shoulder bar and lap bar, but witnesses alleged that Taylor might have been straining and twisting a little to watch the emergency helicopters brought to the scene of the other accident. Taylor fell from the ride capsule, striking the ground headfirst. She was rushed to Miami Valley Hospital, where she was pronounced dead of multiple body traumas caused by the fall. Number 7, New Jersey Action Park. The park was known as one of the most dangerous in existence and also had its share of fatalities. 3 people drowned in the wave pool alone. In other incidents, a park employee was riding the Alpine slide when his car jumped the track. A kayaker attempted to right his tipped craft and was electrocuted, and a visitor suffered a fatal heart attack triggered by the shock of the cold water beneath the Tarzan swing. Whoa. Action Park stayed open till 1996. It reopened 2 years later as Mountain Creek Water Park with completely revamped rides. But in 2014, the park reverted back to its original name. Let's hope the place is a little safer this go around. Number 6, West Edmonton Mall. On June 14, 1986, Rod Chaco, 25, and his best friend David Sager, 24, took a day trip from Calgary to Edmonton to visit West Edmonton Mall for the first time. It was there that they decided to ride the Mindbender, then the world's largest triple-loop indoor roller coaster. They were seated in the last car of the 4-car train. As it was, there were bolts missing on the left inside wheel assembly, and as the cars approached the third and final loop, they were suddenly off the track. As they sped to complete the run, they stalled at the top before sliding backward and crashing into a concrete pillar. Sager was killed, as were 2 other riders, Tony Mandrusiak, 24, and his fiancée, Cindy Sims, 21. Chaco was left with 2 broken legs, a broken pelvis, broken shoulder, and a punctured lung. He remained in the hospital for more than 6 months, and he had to learn to walk again. Well, needless to say, the ride was closed for several months after the incident. It was redesigned and has been accident-free ever since. Number 5, Bell's Amusement Park. If you've ever ridden a roller coaster, you know the nervous excitement that builds as the car slowly climbed to the top of the ride. It's the calm before a thrilling blur of speed, tight turns, and 360-degree loops. Now imagine how terrifying it would be if the lift chain pulled your car to the summit, malfunctioned, and sent it careening backward. That's exactly what happened on April 20th, 1997 at Bell's Amusement Park in Tulsa, Oklahoma. That day, visitors packed the park for a special 25-cent per ride promotion. A popular attraction was the Wildcat roller coaster, which had been testing Tulsans' nerves since 1974. As one of the ride's cars reached the top of the highest hill, it stalled out, and a safety device meant to keep it from sliding backward failed. The car slipped 45 feet, 13.7 meters, back down the track and slammed into another car, ejecting a 14-year-old boy who was the lone fatality. 6 other people were injured. State investigators ultimately determined that Bell's had replaced a plastic part of the anti-rollback device with a material that was not approved by the manufacturer. While the victims' families negotiated a financial settlement with the park's owners, criminal charges were eventually dropped. Bell's Amusement Park closed in 2006. Number 4, Marriott's Great America Amusement Park. Roller coasters don't have to reach extreme heights or speed to cause a fatal accident. Take Willard's Wizard, which peaked at just 70 feet, 21.3 meters, and clocked in at a paltry 42 miles per hour, 67.6 kilometers per hour. It was so tame that when it was first constructed in 1976, its cars didn't even have restraints. The incident occurred on March 29, 1980, when a teenage boy was stepping onto the ride. Without warning, a second train came up behind the one he was boarding and rammed it. The impact threw the teen onto the tracks, where the runaway train crushed his chest and abdomen. 8 others were injured in the accident, one of 5 fatal incidents in the park's history. Because the second train breached several automatic safety systems, investigators pinned the blame on an electric signal that disrupted the roller coaster's computer. In an effort to rejuvenate the ride's image, the park put seatbelts in the cars and renamed the ride, simply Whizzer. Nevertheless, the park eventually disassembled Whizzer in 1988. Number 3, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, Disneyland. In 1979, Disneyland built its Big Thunder Mountain Railroad ride around a runaway mine train theme, complete with caves, mine shafts, and a desert landscape. That premise became all too real in 2003 when part of a train actually derailed, killing 1 rider and injuring 10 others. The train, which consists of a small locomotive and 5 cars that can carry 32 people, had just shot up a hill and into a tunnel when the accident happened. A wheel assembly fell off the locomotive, jamming one of the axles and causing the back end of the locomotive to kick up and hit the top of the tunnel. The front car then struck the locomotive's undercarriage, killing 1 man, who had to be extricated from the wreckage by emergency workers. When the dust settled, the locomotive sat derailed at the top of the hill while the remaining cars stayed on the tracks and came to rest 20 to 30 feet or 6 to 9.1 meters away at the bottom of the incline. Investigators from the California Division of Occupational Safety and Health, otherwise Cal-OSHA, later released a report blaming park maintenance workers, ride operators, and a mechanic for the accident. Disney settled with the deceased rider's family for an undisclosed amount of money. Number 2, FUJIN RAIJIN to EXPOLAND. May 5th, 2007 was Children's Day in Japan, but no one was celebrating after a roller coaster accident left 1 dead and 19 injured in Osaka. The incident occurred on the FUJIN RAIJIN 2 ride at EXPOLAND, an amusement park first built for the International Exposition in 1970. The coaster's design required riders to stand throughout the 0.65 mile or 1.5 meter course, where the 6 car trains reached speeds as high as 47 miles per hour or 75 kilometers per hour. Everything seemed normal when 20 passengers got on the FUJIN RAIJIN 2 in the early afternoon. The ride was more than halfway over when suddenly the second car derailed and tilted dramatically to the left towards the guardrail. That proved fatal for one young woman, who struck her head on the railing as the coaster roared down the tracks. And so it continued, making a horrible scraping sound before finally coming to rest some 328 yards, 300 meters later. According to EXPOLAND's operator, a broken wheel axle was responsible for the tragic accident. The problem might have been caught during the ride's annual maintenance, but these repairs didn't happen in 2007. The park claimed it didn't have enough workspace to disassemble and inspect the cars. EXPOLAND closed in 2009, 1.6 billion yen in the hole, thanks in large to declining ticket sales in the wake of the coaster disaster. Number 1, Derby Racer, Revere Beach. The concept behind the Derby Racer at Revere Beach, Massachusetts, was a fun one. 2 trains raced down parallel tracks to a finish line at the bottom of the ride. You can imagine the scene as teenagers screamed and taunted one another as one car pulled ahead, then the other, through a series of dips and curves on the figure-8 shaped course. But excitement and friendly competition often turned into tragedy, thanks to the coaster's abysmal safety record. Things got off to a bad start in June 1911, when the treasurer of the roller coaster company was fatally injured, ironically, when he stood up to lecture other passengers about safety. The accident, which was actually the second fatality of the year, forced local officials to revoke the ride's license until workers could install brakes and safety restraints in the passenger cars. Apparently, however, the restraints didn't do much good. In 1917, a man lost his hat as the train headed up a steep incline, and he fell out of his car while attempting to recover it. He tumbled onto the other track where he was hit by a train and dragged 35 feet, 10.7 meters. He died, according to the newspaper, after breaking nearly every bone in his body. In 1936, the Derby Racer was demolished, but not evidently because of its bad reputation. The roller coaster that replaced it was simply called the New Derby Racer. Thanks for watching. Are you squeamish about rides? Let me know in the comments below. Remember to subscribe and click here for more Peachy Planet. I'll see you next time.